Hi.
Thanks.
Yeah. Penny is coming also. She's texted that she's here.
Oh, nice.
Hi. Oh my God. Amazing.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
Penny, nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
We're in a Bowie shirt. So, do you buy into astrology at all?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
100%. I bought, when I was growing up, I was raised Christian. And it got to a point where it was used as a punishment. So I could only go out with my friends if I went to church on Sunday with my mom.
Wow.
Kind of a thing.
Oh my gosh.
And this was pre-13. So, 12.
Yeah.
Even. And that's when I started to rebel and studied anything other than. So looked into, okay, well, if not Christianity, what's better, essentially? Or maybe not better, but older.
Yeah. And you found astrology.
Found paganism.
Cool.
Then through that found Wicca. Buddhism even I was reading about and doing book reports on that were where we were able to choose our own subject.
Nice.
And I really fell in love with Wicca and just the naturalism aspect of everything, which ties so closely with, astrology and studying herbs.
Totally,
and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I have collected many books over the years, but my favorite specifically is the only astrology book you'll ever need.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And did my birth chart,
Cool.
which was so spot on, mind-blowing, and pinpointed some loss in my life.
Wow.
It actually said, this will happen, and it had already. And
Yeah.
so that was...
Sold, right?
Yeah.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. And I try to get everyone to subscribe.
Yeah.
Whenever they come over, I'm like, let's do your birth chart. Do you know what time you were born?
Same. Love it. Have you heard of astroherbalism? That seems like up your alley.
But I'm so intrigued.
Yes.
Tell me more.
So there's actually like a school for astroherbalism. I've only taken one course, but it literally speaks to a lot of what you're talking about. They've developed a school that talks about how, for example, like the sun and a dandelion are like the same energy, and you could also see that within the bloom. And then there's like, I think marshmallow. Do you know this one?
Marshmallow root?
Yeah, it's ruled by the moon, So that's their whole philosophy. It feels very up your alley. I'm only just starting out in that world, but yeah, I've also been studying astrology since I was like 12 for similar reasons. My family, my dad's Ukrainian and my mom's Mexican, so they're both very Catholic, and they it wasn't as strict as how it sounds for you, but my dad actually, this is the story, and I'm right. I was in Barnes and Noble one day. It had to be like between 8 years old and like 11, because I remember the house we were still living in, and I moved from that house when we were 12. And I saw a palm reading book, and I asked my mom if I could get it, and she was like, I don't know about that. You're going to have to go home and ask your dad. And she didn't let me get it. And so then it made me want it even more. And I asked my dad, there's this book, it's about reading palms. Mom said I had to ask you. And he was like, I don't know about all that, but if you're into that kind of stuff, there's definitely some truth to this. And he gave me this vintage astrology book of his that went into all the planets and signs and really into the chart system, not so much horoscopes. And
It's
I was
surprising for a Catholic to have a book like that.
Hooked. Well, he's an Aquarius, so that says it. And
is there something?
Could you explain what that means?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah,
anything.
Aquarians are very future forward thinkers. So he, for example, is an electrical engineer, and he is very into aliens and astronomy. And then so for him, how he justified it to me is well, the planets actually exist and they actually emit energy. So to him, it's very scientific, and and it made sense to him, and so that gave me like the permission. That was like the doorway. An Aquarian mind is very much like this. Like they're pretty into like space agey stuff. They're ruled by air. They're ruled by ether. I'm not going to make this like a whole astrology podcast.
Talk about it as much as you want. It's what you do. It's your world.
But so each sign is associated with an element, and there's like, for example, like the baby water. There's adolescent water, and then there's an elder, and that would be like Cancer would be the baby water. Scorpio would be the adolescent water, and then Pisces, Adam and I, would be the elder water sign.
Elder water.
Yeah, so we're like sort of the old souls or whatever. And Aquarius is right before Pisces, and they're like the elder air. So if that makes any sense, that does sort of explain why my dad would allow me to study astrology at such a young age. And honestly, both my parents did sort of step away from the church for obvious reasons. What's that?
Corruption?
Yeah, like they were like asking for so much money, and we're like, we don't have all that money to just give you. We're already paying tuition. Like, fuck off, So basically, I remember that, and I remember being like, yeah, the church sucks. At a really young age, I was like, all right, astrology.
How old do you think you were?
I had to be. It was everything like that I'm speaking about. I was under 12 because I moved. I used to live with my Ukrainian grandmother until I was 12, and then when she passed away, we moved houses, and that was all during the time that I was living with her.
Okay.
And she was like, we went to the Ukrainian church right over here, St. Nick's.
Which one is that? The huge one?
The huge one, yeah.
I love that one, man. Pretty.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's got these pastel oranges and
Have
blues.
you been inside?
Yeah, I went for a service by myself like a month ago for the first time ever doing that in my life of any Catholic church. Just to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was so unbelievably beautiful.
It really
and it was just like the families that were there, seeing the families together, like the way that the men held themselves, and me seeing that as a man, just being like, wow, this is really giving them a lot of foundation. Like these people really love this. This is cool to witness. This is like.
Yeah, just for the record, it was not that church that we
neat.
disagreed with.
Sure. I don't know about
going to a different church. Sure. Parishes, I swear it's a thing.
I'm not sure about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as the appearance, the superficial experience that I had was very beautiful.
That's where I was like baptized and everything was at St. Nick's, and in the Ukrainian Orthodox tradition, they like do it all at baptism. They like confirm you, everything. So
you're all.
You're just it. I was like, I'm good. Okay, moving on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you grow up around here?
I grew up on the northwest side. The area is called. Grew up in Edgebrook and then moved to Saguenay. Do you know that area?
Ish.
Yeah. What about you?
I grew up by Great America.
Okay, that's where my parents are now.
Oh, cool.
They moved up there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I grew up, the house I grew up in was Lindenhurst, which is right next door.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I went to Grace Lake High School, which is like...
Right there.
That's where my cousins all went, too. Yeah.
I like it up there because it's like...
Yeah, I forget about that,
nice and spacious.
Yeah, there's a lot of land.
Yeah, there's a lot of land.
There's a lot of small mines, but it's changing.
Yeah.
Which is good.
This is true.
The next generation is the most diverse and LGBTQIA plus involved, which is very exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the most it's ever been in the history of generations that we've been tracking.
Are your parents still up there?
No, my mom lives on the East Coast.
Okay.
She moved to Arkansas with my grandmother for I don't really know why. And then after my grandmother passed, she moved to North Carolina to be in warm weather where it's also affordable.
Yeah.
Before realizing how racist of a state it is.
Yeah.
Which one?
North Carolina.
Okay. I could believe that.
It's
I
still
didn't
the South.
experience it firsthand, but I guess from the generational sort of history, I could believe it. Okay.
Yeah, it's very Trumpy, and we don't need to get into it. But so they do not like it for those reasons. But they found their people and are living the best they can, and trying to do what they can to give back and support the marginalized communities that exist there.
I feel like a lot more people are moving that way. Like, I think that since the pandemic, there's been a big shift in migrations of places.
Oh,
so
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's what we talked a little bit about on the last episode too. It's everybody seems to be noticing that too. So it's
Really?
like I wonder what that's gonna lead to.
I know.
How these different regions are gonna kind of be populated by everyone who thinks the same. What will that lead to? And that'll be an interesting sort of future.
Yeah. At least with the places that have nice weather year round, it seems like they're getting an influx of folks from all the cold weather areas because the pandemic taught everyone that it really sucks when it's freezing cold outside.
Yes.
And you can't go out.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything, but you also can't go anywhere. You know,
Yeah.
at least being in warm weather, you can find someplace nice to go to, nature.
Totally.
And escape. Yeah.
So, two Catholics and a Jehovah's Witness
Uh-oh.
walk into a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that upbringing isn't that crazy. You're still following the same Bible, huh? So,
What?
yeah, I think we have this. We've got the same sort of.
So I guess think we all stopped following that Bible.
Well, sure, yeah, but I mean,
What's a Bible?
as far as the metaphors we use, sort of when we're on autopilot and stuff like that, you know, I think we'll have a pretty similar sort of autopilot language in metaphor, in theory. I guess I'm working to deprogram that quite a lot. It's kind of fun, that process too. Be like, all right, out with the old.
It's some heavy programming religion.
It's fun stuff.
It's like the heaviest. I mean, you can see how it influences everyone.
Just new thought patterns are, I think, what I'm really interested in. And that's been a lot of fun. You know, reading self-help books that are really awesome. It's about figuring out how to do the stuff that everybody figures out. And you see it on all your friends who are wealthy. You see it on all their families' bookshelves. Just sort of all these books. This one's funny.
Yeah, what's one in particular?
Yeah.
This one is funny. I remember years ago I listened to this. This was a classic.
Oh, yeah.
This is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. This is a complete classic text. So this is one of these books. This is pretty funny.
I'm not familiar with it, but the fact that it calls itself the complete classic text is very telling.
Yeah.
In the cold pages.
So this is one of the funny ones.
Trying to be a Bible.
I listened to a really great one called The Big Leap, which is sort of about the zone of genius and just kind of how we limit ourselves to achieving our greatest aspirations and our greatest desires, because we have this sort of like glass ceiling. We're just kind of imagining that we could what the next level of responsibility would be like. And this is just a really great book about some positive habits, forming new ideas.
I don't remember the book that it was that I was reading that had a similar concept, but it talks about religion and how when raised in a religious environment, you're always pitted against what you should be doing, how you're not good enough because there's this thing you need to attain over here, and in order to get there you have to do X, Y, Z. And so it's basically telling small children who are just figuring out what life is about and who they are, and what it means to be loved and how to express yourself and how to find your own identity, that you're not good enough because you haven't done XYZ, or you won't get to here unless you become more like Jimmy over here.
Yeah,
and so it's instilling that sense of self-doubt that was never there in the first place.
Right.
It's a tough pill to swallow, I think.
It's there's self-doubt and self-pity and self-hatred is a concept that in this book that I was reading, it was talking about how this person went on this conference that's really famous, and a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists and gurus essentially go, and the Dalai Lama was there, and they were having a conversation with him, and they asked him, how do you feel about self-hatred? And he was like, what's that?
That's so good.
Yeah. Love it.
And just that alone opened my eyes to, he's just never lived in that kind of social environment where that's a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But in America, that is all we're taught from a very young age, that we aren't good enough.
Right.
And so we live with this sense of, proving ourselves, having to prove yourself just to earn your parents' love, their trust, their approval, the approval of your teachers, the approval of any authority figure.
Sure.
And it made so much sense.
Right.
in how it described this, and it just kind of shifted my perspective on what that is, why that is, and how we can reprogram ourselves to get out of that.
1,000%.
That's just constant, vigilance. That's a tough one to reprogram.
Yeah.
But that would be the ideal sort of
Have you guys
new
ever
program.
done like hypnotherapy?
No, but I just met a hypnotist.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I would say, you could go that route, but also you can do it yourself. It's basically just focusing in on one thing and then going all in on that. And so basically it could also be affirmations,
It's a little less invasive.
I would recommend tell yourself what I do actually sometimes is in my voice notes on my phone, repeat an affirmation, and then you listen to yourself, because it's all about the subconscious programming, and then replacing it with that. So you can listen to it when you're driving or when you're going to sleep, and hearing your own voice. There's something
really nice
to
idea.
that sound vibration, so that what moves out the old and brings in the new.
What would be one of your favorite affirmations?
Well,
even if it's just even if it's a future aspiration that you don't say, what do you think?
Aspiration or affirmation?
I'm sorry. Did I say aspiration? I meant to say
Affirmation.
Affirmation. Yeah. Sorry. That's definitely not what I meant. Yes. One of your favorite affirmations. What would you say?
I can't think of that off the top of my head. What about you? Do you have one?
I do have one.
Okay.
I do have one, and it was one that Louise Hay wrote. Are you familiar? Louise Hay is a woman who ended up finding out that she had cancer, and through, of course, therapy and cancer treatment.
Yeah.
But on top of that, mental focus and affirmations, she healed herself.
Yes, I've heard so many good stories.
It's called Heal Your Body, Heal Yourself.
Okay.
Heal Your Mind,
I
Heal
have
Yourself.
Yeah.
And she's a very famous author, and I want to say she recently passed away, but she has affirmations that align with anything that your body might be experiencing.
Yeah.
So you could look up menstrual cramps, you could look up migraine, you could look up whatever in this book.
Amazing.
And then find the affirmation that goes along with it.
That's brilliant.
So I experienced strange things when I was younger, like weird skin conditions that I didn't understand, and so I was using this book to try and see if it would help, and there was one in particular that I loved, and I used to scream it in my car to try.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. That's the reprogramming. There you go.
There's just something about saying a positive phrase over and over again, especially like loud to yourself, that feels really good. So it's my life is filled with positive abundance. All my needs are met and more.
I love it.
It's very simple.
Beautiful.
And very straightforward. And it invites that abundance. It invites that you're taken care of, you're safe. Everything you need is available to you. So it's reassuring.
That's very nice.
Okay, I just thought of mine.
Yes.
So my favorite one to call in is I like to just call in the energy of grace. So I call in the energy of grace. I embody grace just because I feel like grace is, like I was talking about in the beginning, it is an energy that can clear out like everyone else's shit and just bring you into that like feeling of alignment. Like, no matter what, I'm going to move through this day gracefully, you know, like just give me the energy of grace is usually my go-to.
Grace flows. It's a consistent, gentle flow. Very much.
It helps with the flow. It helps me not get too tripped up. It really does. Like, I swear I've seen the difference in where I could think, oh, like that didn't work out or blah, blah, blah. But then my mind has literally changed to see almost everything working out. You know, like even if, like today, for example, I was like pretty frustrated.
Which part? When we were locked out outside? When we arrived?
With just like the timing of the day. I was like, maybe I should have done this yesterday. And then I realized, no, actually, like everything is literally aligned for me to get here. Like exactly when you got here.
Yeah, that was fun.
And then, you know, we got locked out, but the mailman helped.
That was pretty. That was a nice little miracle.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We called in that miracle.
Yeah.
That was pretty graceful.
It was.
Yeah, that was lucky, huh?
Yeah.
Even amidst seeming chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
It still flows.
Right.
It's really nice.
I have Gemini rising, so with the Pisces energy, things can get chaotic. So I need to call in grace. They're both like mutables.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know your rising and moon?
Capricorn rising. Thought it was Aquarius for the longest time, but then I did my chart again, and I was like, oh shit, it's Capricorn. Cancer moon.
Okay, that's a strong moon placement.
And I'm so very that.
Wow, we just had a Cancer new moon.
Yeah.
The full moon. Yeah.
So double earth and water. Nice.
I'm right on the cusp of Libra. It's like the last day.
Okay, like the 23rd?
Second to last, 21st.
Okay.
Close. So I do have some Libra tendencies of like the judgment, the weighing of choices in order to decide things, or even like sometimes difficulty with making decisions.
Yeah. My mom and sister are Libras. So.
This is pretty cool that you two know about this stuff. This is fun for me to hear.
Yeah. I think that they are like, they can find their perfect balance that they're known for, but before they do, they usually go to the extremes, you know? But that's just like part of the journey. Yeah.
I just thought of the book that story of the Dalai Lama came from. It's called Radical Acceptance.
Okay.
And it's about how to, I mean, really, it's about how to love yourself, but through the eyes and teachings of Buddha. It's phenomenal.
Radical acceptance.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. There's a lot of meditations
I know
in
the
it.
term, and I like it, and I like the concept that I invent in my head.
Yeah.
But how does the book, how is it laid out? How do they do it? Is it sort of like guideposts, or is it just kind of?
It is. It first helps to dismantle why we are this way in this country, and it's largely rooted in, you know, being founded
Programming.
on religious upbringings. And how religion ultimately colonized and founded this country and took it from Native Americans. But through that, it then takes you through meditations, and the author also has a podcast and does meditations that you can listen to. But my friend that recommended the book and told me about it recommended that same thing of reading the meditations on a voice recorder so you can listen to them later.
Yes.
So that you're basically telling yourself and guiding yourself through this meditation of acceptance. It's a tough book to get through as far as, because it's so introspective, and sometimes, at least for me, I have to be in the right headspace and right mindset to really sit and authentically accept and absorb this information. And sometimes it can be intense where I'm like, I have to walk away from this right now and read something that's a little lighter.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like Russell Brand's biography or something. I need humor.
How was that? Did you read that?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Any book from
Funny
someone
guy.
that has gone through intense, like, drug-filled experiences and is now sober, I'm drawn to
Those are
sobriety
fun.
books.
Yeah.
I don't drink alcohol,
My first one of those was Anthony Kiedis, his book, The Scar Tissue.
It's
I
good.
remember that when that came out.
I
I read it. I don't remember much about it except for a couple of stories, but you know, I enjoyed it. I liked those biographies at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, it was pretty entertaining.
Okay.
He had a lot to teach, I think. It was good.
Oh, I want to read it.
Yeah.
I've heard Nikki Sixx's book is really good too.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Weird Al, that would be a good book. Weird Al Yankovic.
Has he written a book?
I don't know.
I would say
I hope
he
so.
should if he hasn't. Did either of you, and this is a segue, pretty hardcore, did either of you ever watch Svengoolie?
Yeah.
On TV?
What was it? Maybe I don't watch a lot of TV. But
More as a young adult than as a kid.
He was really popular in the 90s for doing these interstitials between movies that were playing on WGN.
No, I don't
Or
think so.
was it WTTW? It was one of those classic Chicago stations.
Yeah, I forget which one it was, but yeah, I'm with you here.
Well, I don't know why I thought of this, but he's gone from being a local Chicago guy to now having a nationwide syndicated
Perfect.
TV
Good.
show.
He's still alive. He's still doing it. That's good news.
Yeah, and the original Svengoolie dates back to the 70s and was like a Chicago staple, but he's this corny horror guy.
I mean, I know the name. I don't think I've seen his
Sure.
show.
He just shows horror movies and then like spoofs them and makes himself pop up in the movies in the background. And stuff like
Kind of
that.
like Mystery Science Theater in
Yeah.
a way,
Yeah.
but with really
God, they're
campy,
so
classic
funny.
vaudevillian style jokes, like a rubber chicken.
I love those guys so much
He has
too.
shticks,
That's
you know?
Yeah.
The Mystery Science Theater is some of the funniest stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe their wit. It's just unbelievable. They're so witty. Just,
Agreed. Good writers.
yeah. I don't know what they went on to do after that, I wonder.
I don't know either.
Hopefully still use those genius brains.
Do you watch movies?
Not many.
Okay.
I'm not a huge film buff. I kind of wish I was.
I admire that though. I wish I watched less.
Really?
Yeah, I've been trying to watch less for that. Yeah, I relate with that one.
I'm like,
But
yeah.
what did you watch then? Or how did you spend your time instead?
Yeah, good question. Well, are you talking during the pandemic?
No, I mean, I don't know that if I maybe misheard that you didn't really grow up watching
Oh, it's not
as much
that,
television, or is
no,
it just
I
that
just
specific
chose
show?
not to. I just don't really like.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I have plenty of friends in the film industry. I actually love working on short films and film sets, but I don't actually watch many films.
That's good.
So
It's
you
not that
didn't
good.
watch
I think
TV
that,
as a kid much?
I mean, I don't know actually when I just decided to just stop watching TV. Because again, it goes back to the programming.
Sure.
TV is such a programming. I think at some point I got so I don't know, maybe just got interested in other things, and that wasn't one of them.
I find that
So-
myself and many members of my family, extended and immediate, use TV watching as a disassociative.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's just sort of the way we grew up. It was like the TV is on. You don't need to worry about anything.
Right.
It's like, here, just tap into this IV and just be like,
Escape
Yeah.
into this
Yeah.
box.
So I grew up similarly, the TV was on, but I was just not interested in it. I remember going into my room and creating my own world.
Yeah.
Just literally.
Great.
I had my
It's a
own
good thing to grow up.
imaginative worlds. And my mom, going back to me needing more rest, my mom used to say that she would always remember me just as a little kid, the ages that like parents want their kids to nap, like I would just go and take a nap. Like
You knew.
I loved
You knew
napping.
that.
I
Yeah.
was like, my mom said she would have like people over and they'd be like, "Where's Penny?" And my mom's like, "I don't know, she's probably napping."
She put herself to sleep.
Yeah, and they're like, "What an angel!" And honestly, not much has changed.
great.
I love naps. I love. I've always been really close to my dream world. Like my Ukrainian grandmother got me into that.
Do you lucid dream
I
often?
was just gonna ask that.
A little bit. Like I can't say that I actively like lucid dream or
Sure.
like can control my dreams even really, but
Have you ever
I think like a little
had
bit,
a lucid
yeah.
dream where you were in sudden and total control?
It kind of like pops in and out. Like sometimes it happens, but no, I can't say that I've had a like full on dream where I'm like fully in control, even though this
That's
is
a
like
pretty
a
amazing
muscle
feeling.
that I've exercised.
It's really something.
Yeah,
I think.
you have.
Yeah, I used to work at this sensory deprivation tank clinic,
Oh, cool. Okay, that
and
makes sense.
that allowed me a lot of space to just explore my brain in ways that when I was
that's
sober.
amazing.
You
I
know?
really want to do that.
So
I've
Have you-
never,
they
no,
had
I've
this-
never done one.
We had this light and sound machine,
Mm.
which would there was just these.
As part of the tank, or
No, this was a
Separately?
separate. So
Okay.
there was a separate room for light and sound therapy.
Oh.
So you would sit in these chairs that were kind of space age looking, but vintage space age. So they sort of were tacky. You know, they didn't look like you were on a UFO. It looked more like you were on backstage at Star Trek or something.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like you'd put on these goggles and they were really just sunglasses with these little lights on them, these 3 LED lights, I think, and then they would blink in different combinations, and they were connected to this little computer, and then you had headphones on also. So you turn off the lights, you're in this dark room, and you're just listening to these beats, these binaural and beats, and they would simulate alpha and delta and theta waves, and then the lights would also do this, you know,
Whoa,
this
sounds
sort
so
of
fun.
combinations
Like,
of things.
I'm ready.
That's what I would
Yeah,
love
definitely
to watch.
not good if you're an epileptic.
Right.
but I think that's
Yeah.
definitely not made for everybody. but I wound up buying one of those machines, and there was a mode. One of the modes that you could do was for lucid dreaming. So you can set up these modes, and they have a set time frame that you would do it for. And I would set it for like 5 hours of the lucid dreaming one, put it on, and go to sleep. And then I don't know how much that helped, or how much it was really my intention of having them. But I was having them all the time, and I would take naps in the afternoon, and I would just so that I could have lucid dreams. And it was this thing I was really into, and I would wake up and I would write about them. And I found that writing about the dreams right away when I woke up was the only way I was going to remember them. And if I didn't, as soon as my feet hit the floor, then it was like out of bed, you know, and then it was, they were gone for the majority of the time. But if I'm in bed, the journal was next to my bed, I would just reach over and, wow, that was really something. I wonder what my mind is trying to tell me or process.
Yeah.
This is so weird.
Or like where you went.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like there's many layers to
there's so much you
the
could
dream
theorize on.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I stopped doing that. I felt like I had a sort of cheat code where I was just like, this isn't really fun anymore. I remember I saw Lindsay Lohan on the bus. And
in your dream.
yeah.
Okay.
You're like
In the dream.
boring.
Yeah, I'll specify. That's what it was. So I was like, I just walked there, and I tried not to look at her when I sat down, and when I walked past her. So then I was like, no, I didn't like that. That's not how I want to live this dream.
Yeah.
So I rewound the dream, and I got back on the bus, and then I looked at her as I walked by instead of not looking at her as I walked by.
Damn.
You're like, no, I should look at it.
That was
Let's
it.
do this again.
That is some high level
That was-
astral
that
work.
was so funny.
Like,
That
that's
was
such a
funny.
Pisces thing.
That was funny.
That's really interesting.
So do
What
you
does it
feel
mean?
like that,
That was-
still happens?
I had a similar account in real life when
Mm.
I saw Paris Hilton in person.
Mm-hmm.
I was at a house party in LA, And it was this Christmas party, and I had charged. This is real life now.
I know.
So I'm at this Christmas party, and my phone had died, but I had found a charger, and I was charging the phone. So I had set it in this room. It comes to be close to time for us to leave, so I go back to that room to get my phone, and Paris Hilton is standing in the doorway of that room. So I walked up and I said, excuse me, I need to get my phone in this room. And she said, and moved. And that was my meeting place. So
Good for you.
Very similar to the dream with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe that was the practice run, the dry run for meeting that.
Your brain knew.
Yeah.
That brand of celebrity. That's funny.
I do feel like that happens in the dreams a lot. It's like a foreshadowing.
Yeah, there wasn't this moment where it was
yeah.
like, I see an opportunity here. It was more so just like, I need to get to
Kind of
my thing.
mundane. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, so my Ukrainian grandmother, like, that's one of my favorite memories, and one of my, I think, very first ways of exercising my psychic muscle is she used to say, she used to make me come down every morning and tell her my dreams when I woke up. Yeah, so it was like,
Wow,
it was a lot of permission again to like explore my dreams and remember them. And she did like flee Ukraine during World War II, and my intuition says that like her dreams really helped her like intuition get safe, like get herself safe, and her intuition got her safe. So she definitely, she would even like point to the middle of her head, like your third eye, and then bang our foreheads together so that she would be like, you see from here, you see from here. And those are some of my like earliest memories of like exercising psychic abilities. But yeah, I would say that dreaming is a big psychic ability, like empathy, intuition. There's
She's like your Baba Yaga.
all the clairs, yeah. Oh yeah, she was my Baba Yaga. Yeah. Definitely Baba Yaga.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, dreaming's always been, I think, one of my strongest psychic abilities and experiences. For you, you feel like it's intuition, or do you have strong dreams?
When
It can be all the things too.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I have very intense dreams.
Mm-hmm.
It's not every night,
Yeah.
and I don't remember them always. But I definitely have moments where I'm in this real situation and I'm like, I know I've seen this before. I feel like I've dreamed this.
Yes,
And
like
that-
deja vu.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that happens. And I can't explain it and I can't
So,
point my finger on it, but
so are there actually recurring dreams you have? Do you
I
think?
don't have rerecurring dreams.
No?
I have reoccurring
Themes, maybe?
themes.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's
That's
Yeah.
what I mean to say.
themes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, can I tell you guys one?
Yeah, I'll share one too. Yeah.
Okay, so there's one, it's like so, I don't know what this, I will just preface it with saying like, I haven't done too much formal like dream work or dream training, so I think some people believe that dreams are like your subconscious. I think that's part of it. I also believe that there's like a literal astral plane. So I think that there's just like a lot going on in dreams, and I'm definitely not an expert, though maybe I hope to be someday, because I just love it so much. I just love the surrealism of it.
Crazy, yeah. There's so many things like that where you're so in life where you have this great desire to do the right thing by being compassionate. And yeah, how do you know, when it's the wrong move to be compassionate?
Exactly.
That's a tough decision to make.
Mm-hmm. That's why there's this whole fuck politeness movement for women.
Yes.
Because we're conditioned to be polite and put other people's comforts ahead of our own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we need to not do that.
Yeah. I mean, that being was definitely a predator, you know. And
Unless it's the right moment to do it, I think. That I would say just blanket that sometimes you have to put others first, I think. that's a pretty rare case, though, for I think most.
Yeah, I disagree, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think we should always put ourselves first, because if we're not okay, we can't help others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I was reading a thing today on narcissists, and specifically was saying, well, I don't want to say the specific. It's damaging to whatever, to someone maybe. But the specific.
Like maybe you don't
No,
have to be polite.
damaging to someone who may be listening or something, whatever. So I think the idea when someone is your dependent and you are behaving in such a way, then that's the condition under which it's sort of like exception to the rule of, putting someone else first.
Oh, sure. In instances of,
That's I guess
neglect.
that's why that was fresh in my mind. I just read that article. Yeah,
Yes. If you have food that's only enough for one person, give it to your kid instead of you. Yeah, like that sort of situation. But that's not.
Example,
That's not what I was referring to.
No, I know, but that's where my mind took that thought, and I wanted to see if I could poke some holes for some reason.
Yeah, but I mean, even in that sense, someone who's caring for that sounded good.
Yeah.
Someone who's caring for a dependent mentally and physically needs to be in a good space in order to offer the kind of care that
100%.
dependent needs.
Absolutely.
And if they're neglecting sleep or neglecting health or anything, it's going to impact everyone in their path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm behind that.
I like the saying, "You can't pour from an empty cup."
Yeah, that's a good saying.
Yeah.
If you find anything interesting in there.
Should I? Okay.
Yes.
This one has come. Oh, I don't know. There's this one. We can decide together.
Wow.
That one came up twice.
Oh, are you familiar with love languages?
I am, yeah. Are you?
I am.
Okay. We could go there. I don't know.
Wherever you want to go. It's good. Yeah, we're doing great. I really love our conversation today.
Okay. This one keeps coming up too. I don't know. It's a little.
Oh, that's funny. He drew that card.
Oh, really?
Earlier.
Damn.
Which one is it? Is it the fight for thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
We drew that one on the
the
first episode too. We
Wow.
didn't go into it, but
maybe that needs
It's
to
a tough
maybe we
one.
can
maybe
now.
that needs to be a question that's asked on every episode.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things.
That's a good question for every episode. I know
It is.
Tim Ferriss always asks a few. I really love him. He's a really special podcaster. But he always asks people what they would put on a billboard if they could put anything on a
Oh,
billboard.
I love that question.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's answer that.
Yeah.
What would you put?
Be better.
That's nice. I do like that. I like those positive billboards when I'm on road trips, actually.
Yeah.
But they're showing up more and more, I'm finding. It's a good thing.
I like something like nothing is perfect. I think that we get really caught up in like perfectionism. And the truth is just like nothing is perfect. Something like nothing is perfect or life is messy or
Yeah.
I also like eventually everything connects. Those are the ones I would put on billboards.
That's good.
I like that.
Because like we said earlier, like there's just these crazy moments where you're just like, holy
That's
shit,
a nice
all
one.
of my
That's a
worlds
nice
have
one.
just
I
connected.
do like that. I think
Yeah.
I might go the route of quit peeing in the pool. Or,
There's no pee in our rule.
yeah. No, I don't know that that's true, but I would put that out. I think I like the well as a metaphor more, maybe. Maybe I could find some way to say, poison the well for one, you poison the well for all, or something like that.
There's a billboard I always see on my way home, and it just says simplicity. And I'm always like, yes. or simplicity or simplify. Either one. It's true. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
But also, like, simple is often so hard.
Yes.
It can be the hardest.
Yes. I think we tend to complicate everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. This painting, for example.
I'm
trying as hard as I can to
now.
keep it simple, and I find that when I have too much time to work on something like a single portrait, I've got so much extra time to second guess myself. And this is an ambitious composition, and it makes it so that I have to be flying everywhere, and that makes me enter the mode that I find is my favorite mode to be in when I paint. So this is
great.
It's a cool format. I think the double portrait's a good idea for the show.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to see, like, it almost helps the listener, like, see the energy, the two people. Okay, so I'll just say these and then we can pick which one we want to go to. Or both. Okay, so one is, what are you willing to fight for and why? And then the other one is, how do you love? And both of these came up like multiple times, so it means they want us to look at it. Yeah. Well, if we do how do you love, do you also know like your Venus sign in astrology?
Ooh. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
I want to say, I know I have Virgo in a lot of planets.
Oh, okay.
But I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
I don't know it by heart.
Yeah. Because that's one like lens of love we could look down. It's just yeah.
Now I want to look it up. What's yours?
Aquarius. Venus in Aquarius in my 9th house.
Okay.
So I guess we're going to go down this how do you love one. So
Which one?
How do you love?
Okay.
And through the lens of astrology, and I do think it resonates for me, like Aquarius is something we talked about earlier, but it's also a sign of loving, like, it's more like an agape love. Like it loves the universe, it loves travel, it loves the planets, and I really feel like that is how I love. I have like a very like expansive love and love of learning. That's also very Aquarian. Aquarians are also very techy. I can't say that I personally love technology, but I love people who are good at technology. Like, love to find me a good tech guy, maybe.
Very handy.
Yeah, it's like I if I really sat with any type of technology, I can always figure it out. But yeah, so Aquarius in the 9th house is also like it's very much like a teacher and a traveler. And I think that is really how I love. I fall just in love with life when I travel and when I'm able to like teach or be around teachings. So that's definitely one way that I love. It's like the high vibration of my love expression, I think. Yeah, love of the arts, love of culture. In terms of like relationship love, it can like that can be a little bit more complicated, it's like
Understatement.
yeah, because
so many variables.
Yeah, there's so many variables. It like includes another person's free will. So you're just like
ultimately that's the kicker.
Yeah, and when you're like
we do what we want.
When you love traveling and you love experiences, like it's like you kind of have to really meet that, I don't know, that complementary person, which I have not yet.
Yeah, here and there.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
But what about you? How do you love?
Well, I don't know my planet Venus house by heart. So I can't read into that. As far as love languages are concerned, I prefer, like, I respond well to words of affirmation, which I think really just nourishes the self-doubt that's been ingrained in me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
I am very deliberate and intentional. I make my feelings known. I'm very vocal. And even if it's just walking down the street with a friend, I'm like narrating what I'm experiencing or how I'm feeling, or I'll walk into a room and I'll like point out things that I like, or it's just I respond to visual stimulation in a verbal manner, and I'm very much that way in love as well. I really indulge in the arts, definitely. I express myself by creating things, visual things that can be looked at or experienced or applied, or you can sit in it.
Sensory experiences too. Yeah. Okay, so but you're married, right?
I am.
Can we know about that story? Like, how did you guys meet?
Sure. Yeah, we met at a mutual friend's show.
Okay.
I knew the lead singer, and I knew the drummer through the lead singer. I was working with the lead singer, so my other coworker and I went to the show, and he went to the show because he went to college with the drummer, and by proxy also knew the lead singer, and they all lived in New York, and he had moved from New York to LA. And we got introduced, and we found out that we knew all the same people, and we were very surprised that we hadn't met each other. And after a few drinks, I essentially, for lack of a better term, threw myself at the second bar that we went to after the club.
Yes, that's great.
And he was intimidated. He never had someone.
What's his sign?
He's a Sagittarius.
Okay.
And he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
His parents are still married.
Aww.
He grew up in a very loving environment, and was really like hit the books, good at school, never disobeyed. He was still a typical teenage boy, but wasn't doing the kinds of things that would frighten and terrify parents.
Wait, sorry, was he the drummer?
No, he wasn't in the band.
He's not in the band. Okay.
No, but he was a musician at the time.
Okay.
In fact, he was signed by a major label.
Okay.
When I met him, that's what drew him out to California, was that they were signed by Hollywood Records, which is Walt Disney, like Disney's label. And they were touring with the Jonas Brothers.
No way. Love it.
Or like just before I met him, they were. And I was in it. I really thought he was the cat's pajamas, but he was broken up with, but still living on the couch with his girlfriend. So that was a little, like, we didn't start dating.
Okay.
We casually hung out once or twice. We were exchanging very long emails, like pages of thought back and forth. It was very romantic.
Aww.
And there came a point where he said, listen, because I'm in this situation, I really feel like I need to close this out, figure it out, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's stop talking for a little while. And I was like, cool, I get it.
You were cool with that?
Respect. Yeah. I mean, I loved that he was
trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And just honoring that.
Yeah.
And wanting to close that chapter.
Totally.
And he ended up finding a place with roommates, and he fully moved out. And as he was in his car with the last load of his things, he called me.
Aww. You couldn't wait. I love that.
And the butterflies were happening. And that was that. We started dating from that moment on, and we dated for 2 years before we got engaged. And then we got married in 2013. And so we've been married for just over 9 years.
Oh my gosh, I love that story. That's such a good story.
It's definitely been a journey. We went through 2 different places in LA, a bunch of new cats.
You have cats?
We have 4.
I have 1. We could get into that. I love though how you you like initiated it. That's really hard for me to like ever do. But it's something I think I need to try to do. Similar to that reading that I told you about earlier.
Yes.
You know, and that's a thing. It's like you always sort of see yourself in other people.
Yeah.
But that's so brave and so beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
There was alcohol involved, so
So it helps.
it was definitely motivated by something, by a substance. And frankly, all of my romantic pursuits have been motivated as such.
Have you often been like an initiator?
I'm always the initiator.
Ah, see, this is how we're polar opposites.
I was always the initiator. It's changed since I stopped drinking.
Okay.
My timid, shy side has, I mean, I'm still very intentional, you know, but for initiating intimacy is difficult for me.
Yeah.
And that's never something, I think that's always been difficult, but that's not what I initiated then. You know, I wasn't initiating intimacy. I was initiating other things.
Attack.
Yeah.
I used to, and this is not to label myself, but I used to kind of play a game with myself and look for the hottest person in the room and be like, you're coming home with me today.
That is a Virgo thing. I swear. I have other Virgo friends that have done that. I love it.
I'm so glad to hear I'm not alone.
I'm like way too shy to do that. I'm like, I will avoid you. You have to come find me.
Yeah, we don't live in a world that permits me to do that.
Yeah, well,
I think there are some traits that I cannot possibly relate with that when that goes.
I'm always really curious though if like
that's his personality type, I think. Like for a man to be that way.
But no, this is what I'm gonna bring up though. I'm so like there's like energetics to it all. I'm not trying to like gender anything, but I do think that like as a woman, maybe I have a very old mindset, but I always sort of like expect or want the guy to like pursue me. And I don't know if that, and I think that the times are changing so much and that's just like super outdated. But I also, like, to what Adam's saying, feel like guys now are like scared, like almost scared to like be initiators.
It's a pretty hostile dating place, I guess.
It is. Yeah.
That's fair.
That marketplace is pretty dang hostile right now, I gotta say. People have their defenses up.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about just going up to someone and saying, and looking,
that shit.
I'm big on eye contact. I love strong eye contact.
Yeah.
And I love sitting with people that are comfortable with strong eye contact. And there's something very magnetic about that. And so in any social situation, going up to anybody and just genuinely saying, hi, what's your name?
Yeah.
What's going on? What's your story? And like being really excited about it.
It's very nice
It's
when you actually do it.
incredibly engaging.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who or what gender, you know, identification enacts that. I think it's very well received.
You have really beautiful eyes. Yeah.
So do you.
Thanks. Yours are like gray, blue, green. Like they're all the
There are
things.
a couple different things.
I love it.
Thank you.
What were you gonna say, Adam?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, Adam, how do you love?
Yeah.
I'm gonna dodge this topic today.
Okay.
Okay. Fair.
But we can pull another one of those cards if you'd like.
Yeah. The fighting for one, I think, is a little... There's a lot of things, and there's a lot of things right now in the world that I just don't want to bring up. Everything that you want to fight for is, like, political.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Here's a fun one.
Well, unless it's your right to party.
Right.
Right. That's a very common fight.
Oh, but even that. You know?
It's loaded, yeah.
What foods remind you of home?
Ooh. Tamales, pierogies, anything Mexican and Ukrainian. I grew up with some really good food. What about you?
I'll bet.
My grandfather used to make pierogies from scratch, and I'm hoping that my uncle has the recipe because he's the last living person on that side of that generation. That's not like a cousin or removed.
What's your background? Yeah.
My grandfather was Polish.
Okay.
And on my dad's side.
Uh-huh.
And his wife, my grandmother, was Ukrainian.
Oh, amazing.
And on my mom's side, it was Danish and German.
Okay.
So I'm very Eastern European mutt.
Nice.
Scandinavian mutt.
Mm-hmm.
But 50% of me is Eastern European. Well, 48%. Or whatever 23andMe says.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that was an eye-opener for me when I did that.
So fun.
I can't even believe it. I just had no idea that I was not even human. It's like there was nothing came back. They just...
Wait, seriously?
No.
Stop.
No, it was...
So you did do it?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know that I was Scottish and that I was Irish, and I didn't... Something like a significant percent, like 12 or something of each. It was.
That's cool.
I had no idea of that. Norwegian, I think Swedish, and a lot of British and just English. I guess for a lot, and then German, which you can tell from my last name, of course.
Yeah. It's so neat. It's tough. As a woman, at least, we don't get the full picture unless we have a full male relative, either father or full blood brother, do it.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
Which is tough, just chromosome-wise.
Yeah.
So I don't have a complete picture, but my half-brother did it.
It's crazy,
so
I didn't know
know
that.
Which is good.
I don't see that advertised on the website. Weird.
I mean,
they don't mention that
that's just
up front. Sure.
That's just how it works.
I didn't know that about that system, though. That's interesting to find out.
Yeah.
So pierogies for you too?
Pierogi,
I know, so good.
Andersonville just had their Midsummer Fest, and they had a Polish sausage and pierogi booth, like 5 of them. And I got pierogies and the applesauce and the sour cream, and it totally took me back. Like I was having such a moment. I haven't had pierogies made like that in probably over 2 decades.
Oh my gosh.
And it really
like that good.
It took me there.
Yeah. Those will do it.
My mom's desserts.
Yeah.
She makes killer apple crisp.
Yeah?
So anything apple related, apple desserts.
Did you grow up on the like stuffed cabbages too?
No.
That was another one.
I don't think even if they were there, I don't think I would have eaten it.
No?
Because I don't think I would have wanted to.
Yeah.
I wasn't too picky of an eater, but there were some things where I was like, no.
Everyone thinks that I'm like vegan or vegetarian, like, and I'm like, no, I'm Mexican and Ukrainian. Like those are very heavy meat eaters. I don't know, because the stereotype of this like spiritual type of person,
right,
you know.
You meet so many people and you project so often.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think so.
What about you, Adam?
I think lasagna. I remember my mom would make lasagna.
Yeah.
I would eat lasagna right
God,
now.
do I love it. That's my favorite. I think I'd like to have that every year on my birthday.
Aww.
That's a great tradition.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
I've started to.
Yeah.
So I also have pie instead of cake. So
Also good
I like,
tradition.
I started that, I don't know, less than 10 years ago. But
Different kinds of pie or the same pie?
I really like apple pie.
Yeah.
And if someone who can make a mean apple pie,
Same.
when it's homemade on my birthday, that's a special thing. But it doesn't have to be. So I could have diner pie, just
I think his pie is
with
better
ice
than
cream, though, of
cake.
course. A la
Yes.
mode, of course. There's no
You do a la mode?
question.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
of
can't do a la
course.
mode.
No?
I'll do it on the side sometimes, but just give me the pie.
Same.
I don't know. I like it on the side.
Yeah.
I think it's all soggy, and I like to
Yeah, I
savor
hear
the
that.
crisp,
Yeah.
the crisp of the crust, the flake.
Yeah, I like it on the side too.
I had a birthday celebration when I was in Norway studying. One of the other students, Rachel Personet, she's an amazing painter. She went to the Florence Academy and she teaches, and she's living in Sweden now. She's an American painter. She's from Colorado, I want to say. But everything she does with this kind of level of mastery that's just, I can't even wrap my head around. So there's this pie that she made with this Celtic knot. It was an apple pie, and it had this Celtic crust knot on this hob. It was just like it was like nothing I've ever seen. It was so out of this world.
Wow!
And to eat that on this big wooden table with stone walls and in this house in Norway, it was just on my birthday. It was just that was really a special one.
Yeah.
Jeez, with balloons all around me. that was pretty special.
That in a stone wall environment is really funny to picture.
Yeah.
There are pictures.
Okay. All right.
We can include maybe a slideshow.
That's kind of funny juxtaposition.
In the ending credits, the credits will...
that birthday party. Yes, that's a great idea.
The credits will last a whole 0.5 seconds.
Well, I will say I can, and I have lived off of tacos like forever. I could have tacos, and I have had tacos for like every single meal. They're just so good and so easy, and it is what I grew up on, so it's just like easy for me. It's like the easiest thing I can think of that's good and filling, and
healthy.
And it's healthy, right? Yeah.
That was my diet in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think my roommates would tease me because it was the only thing I would have in the refrigerator. I would make tacos.
Yeah.
And there's so many different ways you can make it,
and so many different fillings. I mean, that's what you meant. Yes. Do you cook often?
Like fairly often. I'm not a huge cook. What about you?
I'm starting to make food more. We would get the meal kits a lot.
Yeah, those were great. You made me a great meal. That was a nice visit.
Yeah, we did a combo of 2 different ones for that meal.
That was pretty something. That's pretty
special.
Yummy.
There's just something about not having to worry about getting all the ingredients and then figuring out how to use all of them in multiple recipes.
Yeah.
And we were living off of that for just like a few dinners a week. So that's really nice because then you get used to making certain things that you haven't made before and how things go together, and it kind of helps to inspire things, and then you can get ingredients for it if you want to make it again. This week I've shifted. I don't know. Something's just changed in me where I'm like, we need to eat better. We've been snacking on a lot of candy and a lot of pizza and guilty pleasures. Don't get me wrong, it's been delicious.
Hey, yeah, vices are good.
But I've felt the effects mentally and physically.
Yeah.
And so I've done a whole shift. I did a whole meal plan for the week and just started making all the things. So our fridge is stocked with yogurt parfaits for breakfast for 5 days.
Oh.
And this delicious arugula pea mint pesto pasta salad. And so Andrew has lunches for work and the weekend. We'll barbecue this weekend. Should be fun.
Nice.
So yeah, cooking a little bit.
Yeah. I'm always more inspired to cook if I've grown the food myself. I have a little garden, and I just started my radishes did amazing this year, so everything has radish on it now. That inspires me to cook more. Or if I'm working closely with a farmer, which I have, not like a CSA or anything, but I was living in Mexico and during the pandemic.
Okay.
And
so for the whole time or a year?
For 3 years, I was in Mexico, pretty much full time. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. And during the pandemic, this farmer was bringing me boxes straight from the farm. I was like, I know this is a little bit of hell on earth, but I'm kind of in heaven because this was amazing. I was so inspired to, like you said, just cook differently because I had all these fresh ingredients. It's not, I don't know, I can't say that I absolutely love cooking, but when I do cook, I really enjoy what I eat. I think I am a good cook. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
I do like to showboat.
What's that?
I like to
Showboat with
showboat
your
a little bit with
Yeah.
cooking, especially when it's unnecessary, I think.
Yeah, my mom's a
A little
showboat.
extra.
That's for sure.
Do you have a go-to, Adam? Like, what's your thing that you're really good at?
Not really anything traditional,
Lasagna.
just like basic stuff. I've never made a lasagna. That's a good idea. Maybe that's
Oh,
what I should do.
yeah, you
Yeah,
should.
that's your
my
thing.
damn self.
Definitely learn to make
I
a
think,
lasagna.
It's a good idea.
I'm seriously craving lasagna.
Same.
No, I mean I do a lot of basic ingredient stuff, but I'm not doing any special methods of preparation. I'm just a visual person, so I wind up making the presentation pretty.
The colors, I love.
Yeah. I cook
cooking
with color a lot, and I
colors
think
inspire
in that
me.
way a lot.
Yeah.
I use the same ingredients all the time. I'm just kind of like arranging them differently, but
Same.
that's that's more or less my style of cooking. I don't cook so much specific recipes and things.
Have you ever had radishes with butter and salt?
No. Well, salt, yes, no butter.
Okay. Salted butter, even.
Okay.
Just a little, like if you just get a little dollop of butter
And, like,
you just dip the radish.
All
in.
right. Noted.
I don't know who invented this. It's like a mom's mom sort of situation.
Okay.
I think it might be from the 50s, but could even be older than that. It is.
I will try
spectacular.
that. Yeah.
I mean, you're full on eating butter, but it's really good.
And I gotta watch the calcium, but.
So how do we feel? Do we want to take a little break for snacks and just
Yeah,
I'd like
breathe?
to
it's
take a
really
break.
hot.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
good.
I'd
to me.
like some swamp cooler.
Yeah, we'll go to a commercial. Yep, sounds good. We'll go to commercial break here,
Okay.
and
And now this.
yeah,
Dark anemones.
yeah.
I used all of those, so it's better for you.
Ah well. What's the little one there?
This guy?
Yeah.
I forgot its name actually. It looks like a
Pretty cool.
little baby allium.
So we are locked out.
Alright.
That's
I'm trying to pick
I
them
came
up.
down to greet everyone, and I'm in my Crocs.
That's a great color though.
Yeah, it's a nice color. Can you believe that I did that?
Well, noted for all the next times.
So we're back. Painting everybody. We're talking about cups, glasses,
McDonald's.
McDonald's, and
Bowie.
stuff. Bowie.
Yeah, tell us about Bowie.
Well, I
Tell
was-
a story.
I was watching one of his documentaries, and somebody was interviewing him about all of his personas, and he just said it so eloquently about how, he was almost going too far on the deep end about being an artist and not enough of being a businessman. And he was getting taken advantage of by his accountant. He was like, how am I doing all these huge shows and getting all this publicity, but I'm not making any money,
Whoops.
Oh.
That's the air conditioner on there. Sorry about that audio. So go on.
And yeah, so then that's when he, decided, well, now it's time to put on that persona as the businessman. It's just, and that's kind of what.
Is that the 80s?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not good at timelines.
Just I'm thinking about his looks, I guess.
No, I'm talking
in the
about
business
him
suits and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Suddenly,
probably.
yeah.
When he decided to straight up own his shit, own his art, and be the business person for his art. I think that really inspired me as an artist to just also have. I mean, we have to be the business person as well, but
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
not always the fun part, But if you don't, then you get taken advantage of, or you just don't make money on your art,
Right.
So it's just ironic. You're wearing this Bowie shirt, and we were kind of just talking about that.
Yeah. I have a good Bowie story.
Yeah.
Well, good is kind of a subjective term, isn't it? I think another Norway story. I seem to be a little hung up on my time in Norway. But I think while I was there, Bowie actually died.
Oh, wow.
So I remember watching his last two music videos, and I was thinking, wow, these really look like Odd Nerdrum's paintings. And I started looking through the paintings, and I started to see and sort of compare. I think he was borrowing Odd Nerdrum's aesthetic quite a bit. So I shared this with Odd, and he had met David Bowie, and David Bowie bought one of his paintings, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the connection there with him. I told him that Bowie had died, and we were hearing about it on the radio. So he explained in this story, it was when Bowie came to his house to see his work, and there were reporters and photographers, and they all wanted to capture this moment where their famous Odd Nerdrum painter in Norway he's our national best. And they chose this moment to kind of highlight him and like claim him as theirs, which is funny as he's so opposed to Norwegian sort of. But I think Bowie sort of let them take one picture and then closed the door on them. And then he and Odd just talked, and he said that he didn't tell me anything they talked about. He just sort of said, he really just listened to me while I talked, and he was very obedient. And that was all he said about it.
It's obedient, like polite.
I don't know. But it was the language he chose to describe David Bowie was obedient. I think that's funny, and it makes me think about how I know Bowie to borrow from other people's ideas throughout his entire career. It makes me think about how I know that about him, and it makes me think that he must have been listening in order to be inspired by this painter.
Yeah.
And I found that to be my takeaway from that story, that Odd perceived him as obedient. Maybe whether this is a language barrier or not, I don't know. But I perceive him as observant.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not uncommon for other artists to do just that. Artists are, everyone's inspired by everyone. It's all like a reciprocal expression.
Yeah.
Okay. My Bowie dream story is a good one to tell. Can I tell that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The night before he died.
Yeah. I haven't been able to say it yet. Okay, so
let's hear it. Yeah, that's exciting.
I was living here. I had just, like in real time, I had just done like a year of traveling. I was in India and Bali and Turkey and all over Europe. Just like took a year and really had a big old gulp of the world. And I came back to Chicago and had my apartment in Ukrainian Village here. And, it was almost like my body could just finally like digest it all. And I was, in my dream, I was in Spain, which was one of my favorite places to be. I was in Barcelona, and I was in one of the Gaudi homes, and this very surreal home. And my job in the dream was to teach this little gray alien baby how to jump on a sink. It was like, this is why dreams are so surreal. No, like I was like holding it and like trying to like teach it how to jump on the sink, and then all of a sudden, this gray baby looks like it couldn't breathe, like it looked like it was dying, and I was trying to like wash his face, and I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, why are you dying? Like I thought this is also like my friend, and I started to feel really bad, but then the dream just suddenly, that dream ended, and I was taken to the rice fields of Bali, but the rice fields were all magenta color. They kind of look like magenta agate color. And I was like sitting like this with my knees and like in kind of like cradled fetal position, like sitting just really sad, thinking like, oh my God, did I kill this alien baby? I really liked it. What I was contemplating like what happened, and it was a very like mystical evening setting with these magenta rice fields. And I was really upset and had no idea what had just happened, and I'm suddenly in Bali, and I was just in Spain. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's no one around me, and all of a sudden David Bowie comes walking up to me, and he was wearing all red, and he said, reached his hand out, and he said, "Put on your red shoes, let's dance." And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, David Bowie was just in my dream. Holy shit, that was the craziest dream. Like, I was like trying to process it, and then I look at my phone and David Bowie had just died. And I was like, whoa. And not only that, I found out later that he had his ashes spread in Bali.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that insane?
That is pretty cool.
It's like, I love it. I really love that dream.
Wow.
I know.
I didn't know I didn't know he was cremated, and I also didn't know he had his ashes spread in Bali.
Yeah.
Did Iman do it?
Sorry?
His wife?
I'm not sure who spread the ashes, but I know that was his request because he had a lot of his spiritual awakening experiences in Bali. Yeah. He felt really connected to that land.
That is one place I've been dying to go to.
Yeah.
It's a little deterring because of the time it takes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
How long is that? I don't know
Over 20
anything.
hours.
How many flights?
Well, you can get direct.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
From here?
a long
Were you direct?
I went from India.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a long time to be on one flight, yeah.
But even in India, it wasn't direct. I had to stop in Malaysia.
Oh, maybe that's...
Yeah, you might have stuff in Malaysia.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of airport Bali has, but that would make sense.
Yeah. But yeah, you should get there. It is incredible.
Yeah.
Just feels,
It's on the list.
it feels like the vibration of love there. Like, at least it did. This was in 2015 when I was there, and I was like, I could see myself never leaving, so I should go now.
Yeah.
Because otherwise...
I would imagine that it feels that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of friends that I have that have either spent a significant amount of time there or currently live there.
Yeah.
Or do production there because of the cost of producing fashion. And particularly leather goods. And my friend has a clothing line and all their production is in Bali, but like they have basically like a second family that they've established and this incredible business with locals, and it's very ingrained in the community. And
like, if you guys, there aren't even words to describe how incredibly creative the Balinese people are. Like, it's just jaw-dropping to see all of their, I mean, I like literally don't have words for it because it's so ingrained in my mind that I think any word would like taint it. It's just like, I remember driving the moto, even in the middle of nowhere, and there's just people's like backyards, garages all over, just filled with the artisanal goods that they're like making, and they're so intricate and they're so stunning, and they're just like the sweetest people that have, probably been doing this craft for lifetimes. Like, and also the like ceremonial experiences are just around every corner. I know that obviously there's a lot of tourism there, but I think it's for a reason. Like, the culture is so strong. It
helps sustain
the
community, certainly.
It's like that's what people are seeking. It's these type of people that are so creative and so in touch with spirit that is just their life.
That's beautiful.
So it couldn't go out of style.
Right. It never went out of style.
That's good for the tourism.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be very difficult to go there and leave.
Yeah.
I really love traveling. We were able to travel a little bit this year.
That's good.
In April, we went to London and Paris.
I've never been to either.
They're nice. I love Paris. I mean, for a major metropolitan city, it's
I would probably love it. Yeah.
incredible because it's so old, and there's just pockets of incredible, beautiful gardens and stunning architecture and history, and there's a regalness to it, but there's also music and the culinary aspect of it, and any restaurant you walk into is incredible and made with the freshest ingredients that you could possibly find, and just it's a very decadent city, and I love that.
I love Spain.
Yeah, I've never been to Spain.
No? Oh, you would
Would
probably
love to go to Spain.
Yeah, I really
love
liked it.
Barcelona. I
Yeah,
mean, I know
I've
I didn't go to Barcelona, but I did go a lot of other places.
Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't make it to Madrid, but I really loved Barcelona. Honestly, because of the art. It's just like, it's such a surreal city. And I love a city by the sea. And it's like the perfect city by the sea. And
Are you fluent in Spanish?
not fluent, but pretty good.
Yeah.
I studied French, actually.
Oh.
But Spanish and Ukrainian were like spoken around my house, so it's familiar. I definitely understand it. I'd say better than I speak it. But yeah, I went to the Dali home too in Figueres.
Oh, cool.
That was insane. That was like a fun house.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I mean, Dali's right here staring at me.
Yeah.
So I had
Oh,
to
right,
honor
yeah,
him.
that-
Yeah.
That was done by this Chicago artist, Feds, Fedz.
Yeah. I recognize the piece.
It's cool. I like that. Where in Spain did you go?
We went to San Sebastian. That was really beautiful and sort of quaint, and the food was so nice. We went to Bilbao, same story there about the food, and the wine was flowed like water. It was pretty special.
Yeah.
Just kind of drinking wine in places where it's cheaper than water.
Did you go to Portugal as well?
I didn't. I had to come back home, but my ex, I don't know, I guess former girlfriend, I don't know, she went with her family because they wound up meeting us there. And we went to Madrid. I think that's where we started. Then we came back and went to Seville. And I want to say I left from Madrid again. I went back to there.
Nice.
But I had been overseas for 6 months at that point.
Wow.
My visa had expired after 3, so I knowingly took the risk, and
Yeah.
I was told
place.
Spain was a good place to come back through because of that. They were a little hex about that.
Spain, Portugal, and Italy are the best. I was the same way.
Yeah.
It's a little too long my visa, but I got away with it. Where's your favorite place you've ever traveled? It's a really hard question.
It's really hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
I absolutely love France, and I want to live there
Yeah.
someday.
What part?
The south.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the
Okay.
south of France, but I've been eyeing. I'm a part of these groups on Facebook that are nothing but property for sale, and it's all in different districts in the south of France. Some are near Provence,
Nice.
and some are near lavender fields, and some are near the sea, and it's all over the map as far as what's available. But it's so affordable, and I really just
good to know.
I have my eye there.
Yeah.
I want to retire early and move to the south of France. And I also studied French
You did.
in school, and I don't know. I love it there. However, I do love tropical environments too. But I've only ever been to the Yucatan. We did Tulum, but we got a tip to travel. I mean, we saw the ruins in Tulum, but we got a tip to travel inland to Koba, which was, at the time, I think they've been excavated since, but it was unexcavated ruins. And so, unlike in Tulum where you can't, it's like all roped off and you can't get close, these were ruins you could climb up and touch and feel.
Yeah.
And there was like a game court that we saw that was part of the ruins, and you could tell that it had areas on both sides. It's kind of like bleachers, but they were made of stone where people would sit and watch whatever game they were playing in the center. And in the ground were these circle stones that I'm sure, because there was one on one side and one opposite, and I'm sure they signified something, like maybe that was where you could score a point or something along those lines. I don't know. Or maybe this was where they did rituals. I have no idea.
Right. There was no guide.
No.
Yeah. That's where I lived. I lived in Tulum.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. But I never went to the Koba ruins. But I went to many ruins all over the Yucatan. Yeah.
It's so beautiful there. The plaques in the ground had alien faces. And so distinctly.
How did I miss these ruins? Oh my God.
So distinctly, where I was like, okay, this signifies something. Yeah. Didn't know what, but we basically were bicycled in by someone, and then were just allowed to walk around, and we went into a couple cenotes and loved it. That's where we spent our honeymoon.
Oh, it's a great place. I mean, I love the Yucatan.
Yeah, me too. We stayed mostly in Playa del Carmen. That's where our hotel was. So we were driving from there to Tulum. We didn't want to stay in Tulum.
Did you go to Valladolid?
I don't know what that is.
It's just more inland. It's on the way to Chichen Itza, the other like big...
Oh, no, we didn't go to Chichen Itza.
Okay.
That was the one thing that we were thinking about.
Yeah.
Because it's so epic,
and
I really
is.
wanted to see it. But driving from the coast is a long drive.
It's not too bad. It's like an hour or two.
Chichen Itza?
From...
It's like a 4-hour drive. Where were we staying?
It was. I've been many times. It was always like 2 hours. Yeah, tops. But I would stop in Valladolid next time. Yeah. Valladolid is.
I just remember that we couldn't make it happen.
Yeah.
And then of course Andrew.
4 hours round trip for
sick.
sure.
Yeah. We had.
Oh, he got sick.
He did. We were down. He was down for 3 days.
Yeah.
Which kind of threw a wrench in the mix, but.
I feel you though. I'm also a very tropical person. I love it. But
it was amazing. I would do it differently next time, I think. I don't think I'd want to stay at a resort. I think I'd want to stay in something a little more intimate.
Yeah.
More like a home in the forest, rainforest kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Where there's things nearby and there's restaurants nearby, but you don't have to deal with tourists like on the property.
There is so much, like so many magical places there. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like it's like overwhelming. It really felt like Never Land living there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's being decimated by tourism right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they created a new road to the beach, and that road, like, sure, it's helpful, but it's it already tore down some of the jungle to make that, and now that there is this new road, like, this is one of the reasons I left, because I knew it was going to be so heartbreaking to watch the jungle just being like destroyed so that people can build on that road. It was already happening, and it's just like there's so many animals that live there, and the jungle itself is so beautiful. Like, it's a very, very special, sacred place, but it's also a very complicated time to live there. So I had to leave. Yeah.
That's fair.
When will you go back? Will you give it another shot?
To live, I'm not sure. I've already been back, like, since I moved. I left July of last year, and I've already been back like once or twice, maybe even 3 times. Like, it definitely feels like home, It's like I could be in a cafe and immediately see friends. It's just like to live, I don't think that's where I'm heading right now. I think I don't know. I don't know what's next.
Sure. Who does, I guess.
Yeah. I would love to, like, maybe 5-10 years down the line, live in Europe and like live maybe in Spain and go to Ukraine. I really wanted to go to Ukraine. I feel like that's part of the journey I've been on, is just revisiting ancestral roots. And I had a plan to go to Ukraine before the war started, but hopefully I can go and help rebuild.
Yeah.
That's again like 10-year plan. 5 to 10.
That's attainable.
So I would,
Realistic.
yeah. I don't know what's next. I here until otherwise noted.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I signed this year's lease, I had in mind that I would give Chicago one more year
Yeah.
and then see how I'm feeling. And if I want to move somewhere else, I will, if it makes sense. And what makes sense means to me is that I don't land and find myself in poverty or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm past the point of being okay with that. I think that there's going to be a time where I can make that decision, but I don't know that that's going to be in 1 year. We'll see.
I usually feel really called to a place. Like Tulum, it was like a magnetic pull. Like I knew I had to go there and spend time there. It was
I felt that
undeniable.
experience.
But right now, I don't have that pull anywhere. Though,
Yeah.
like my body would really like to live somewhere warm in the Chicago winter. So I'm considering some warm place for a Chicago winter. But I don't know. Like it would probably still be in the States. Do you stay all year round? What do you? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I do have family that live in warmer states.
Yeah.
I have family in Florida, and then my mom's in North Carolina.
Yeah.
But with our cats, we can't
So,
leave.
My cat came to me in Mexico, and he traveled with me here. But I'm like, how often can I do this? Like with him, like it's hard to travel with cats. I mean, you have 4, so that's even harder.
There's no way.
If you had just one, do you think you could?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Have you traveled with any of them?
No.
No.
Well, outside of driving from
LA.
Los Angeles to Chicago.
How was
It
that?
was bad.
Yeah. Oh no.
They not all of them. Well, we only had 3 at that time.
Okay.
We got our 4th here.
Okay.
He was a feral rescue.
Mm.
But Chester, the eldest boy, he got motion sick.
Oh.
So that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
They cleaning that up was not pleasant. We rented a minivan and packed it to the gills, but left a pocket in the center for them to sleep and their litter box and water and everything that they needed.
Wow.
And we drove straight 35 hours. We stopped, I think, for 2 hours to rest so Andrew could rest a little bit.
Yeah.
We split the driving. We drove through a blizzard in Vail, Colorado, and this was March 31st to April 1st.
Wow.
Overnight.
And you
it was hellacious.
They weren't in cages. You just let them be.
Oh yeah, we had to let them roam. They had to be able to find a safe place to sleep and relax. They didn't eat the whole time.
No, they were freaking out.
We tried sedating them, and the sedative that the vet gave us made Chester like drool, and he looked all fucked up in his face, and it felt really bad.
Yeah.
And he was like getting sick, and it was
It's so
they were
hard.
meowing the whole time,
Oh my
and I was crying.
It's so stressful. Oh my god.
I am never doing that again. I will pay friends to fly with me with the cats.
Yeah.
So that every cat has a human, I
Yeah.
would rather do that
Totally.
than do that again. Like there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And I know we'll move again. Not soon per se, because we just bought a house last August.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
It was a huge milestone.
It's such a beautiful place too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is.
Oh, you should see it now.
Oh, I bet.
Everything's in
Yeah, I
bloom.
haven't seen it since all
Where
this
is
stuff's
it?
been put in.
It's in Highland Park,
Oh,
but
right.
it's right on the border. It's actually closer to Highwood.
Uh-huh.
At our corner is the Highwood sign. So, are you familiar with the North Shore?
Yeah.
Do you know Fort Sheridan Nature Preserve?
Yeah. I went to Loyola Academy for high school. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Walnut, yeah.
We're a mile walking distance from Fort Sheridan Nature Preserve.
Nice. Yeah. My cousin lives in Glencoe, and then another cousin in Northbrook. So
Nice.
they're all up there.
Yeah. It's, man, every
so beautiful
weekend it seems like
so
Andrew,
refreshing.
Andrew's like finding another trail or a secret path that goes to this park. We just found Sleepy Hollow Park that we can walk to from our house, and a trail that goes in between houses. That's a nature preserve trail, but it shortens the walk to the Fort Sheridan Preserve by like 15 minutes that we didn't know existed. We just were walking around the neighborhood and found it. It is a magical neighborhood. Yeah. Our yard is filled with birds and bunnies, and we have a pond in the backyard that we share with it's like in our backyard, it's like a circle. And so the backyards of all these houses that are on the opposite street behind us, we all face each other.
Nice.
And there's basically a water retention pond. But it's become this ecosystem of frogs and ducks and geese and blue herons come. And it's spectacular.
Do you let your cats outside?
No. We will hold them and walk around the house, or like take a couple steps out, or we'll let them out on the back deck.
Yeah.
And then don't let them go down.
How old are they?
16, the two eldest and their siblings.
Aww.
And then 8, and Elston is 3.
Elston. Is it because you like the street? I do love the street.
All of our cats are named after streets where they were acquired or found.
Really? Mm-hmm. Elston is one of my favorite streets in Chicago.
Yeah, it is great.
It's a good one.
Yeah. It's such a fun name for a...
That's a good name for a
rascal
cat.
boy.
Yeah.
It's so cute. I love cats.
So mine is indoor, outdoor, but he's just like, I do what I want. Like he showed up at my door in Mexico. Turned out he was my neighbor's cat. They had adopted him. It was like a trial adoption, and it was not working out. And you know how they say animals choose you? Yeah. He just like figured out how to open the screen to my window and would just jump through my window. And he'd be like, hey, I live here now. And he showed up on my birthday, March 12th, 2020, right when lockdown started.
That was your present.
Yeah, and I was like...
An emotional support animal.
Exactly. He's like, hola, you're going to need me. And I didn't know that he was my downstairs neighbor's cat. Because he was spending so much time with me, so I had named him and everything. And then he, like, one day showed up with a collar on, and I was like... Excuse me. Who's trying to claim you? But it was actually really lovely because he introduced me to these neighbors, and we became really good friends. I love these two girls, and they were like, "Oh yeah, our friend found him under a car, and like he couldn't keep him, so we're trying it out." His name's Jay Catsby, and I named him Dorado because he's kind of golden. And I was like, oh, I've been taking care of him, and I named him.
Hence the bracelet?
Yes.
Love that.
Cat mom bracelet. And, so it's funny because I was like, okay, you're not my cat buddy, but like he spent 90% of the time with me. And then, so that was like March 2020. And then let's say June, July 2020, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to Chicago. Like, I'll see you in a couple months just to visit when the borders opened again. And in that time that I was in Chicago, he got kicked out of the apartment complex by my landlord because he was freaking out. He was like meowing so much and like he was having sex with the landlord's cat, and just like the landlord was like, he's got to go.
Was he not fixed?
He wasn't fixed, and I was like, that, I was trying to make that a point, but nobody else prioritized it. So anyways, he happened to go to somebody that I know during that time, and all the girls were like, can you take him? And I was like, I'm in Chicago, like that would be really dramatic for me to like come back, get the cat, and move apartments. Like, trust me, there's a huge part of me that wanted to do that, but I was like, I literally don't have the energy right now. So then, like, again, by the grace of God, like he was given to somebody that I know, and I like messaged the guy and I said, hey, just so you know, I have a really strong connection with that cat. If you ever don't want him, let me know. And this was in like September, and I didn't hear from him at all. He didn't even respond. I saw that he saw it like on Instagram. And I was like, oh, you must want to keep him. Okay. You know, and then around Christmas time, he reached out and he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I never reached out. I'm actually going home to Guadalajara. Can you watch him for 2 weeks? And I was like, I would love to, because I didn't even get to say bye. Yeah. And so I snuck him back into the building. And then after, honestly, like a couple days, maybe a week.
So you had gone back?
I gone back to Tulum in September.
Got it.
So I was just in Chicago for like a couple months, and then went back to Tulum, and he didn't, you know, around Christmas time, I went to my friend's house and like picked him up and brought him back to the apartment complex. Yeah. And like the rest is history. After a week, my friend Ricardo was like, actually, do you know anyone that would want to adopt him? And he still hadn't been neutered, and I was like, yes, like this is my cat, you know. It was just sort of very clear that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I never wanted to get another cat because I had a cat for 18 years, and the hardest thing ever was like letting him go, you know? I mean,
Yeah, my cat lived to be 18 also.
Yeah, that was rough. That was like a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But, you know, like letting...
my story is similar to my 18-year-old cat.
Yeah.
A long time.
It's like your companion, you know, just the whole... That was really, really tough to let him go. So I actually always said, I was like, if I get another pet, they're going to have to come to me. Mm-hmm. And like he fucking did. Mm-hmm. So that's the story of my one cat.
And now he's here.
Now he's in Chicago, and he was actually very chill,
that's
like
crazy.
on the plane. I was shocked. I was like so grateful.
Good boy.
He wasn't even very sedated. He had some like holistic, you know, treat that was supposed to make him tired. Mm-hmm. I think he's like a Sagittarius. He must like traveling.
He knew he was going somewhere good.
Yeah, I think so. I think
he felt safe with you.
Yeah, he really likes the change of weather. Like it's not so hot. I think we both miss the humidity. I love humidity.
It's pretty fucking humid out. It's just not tropical humid.
It's not Caribbean humid. Yeah.
Fair.
So yeah.
So does he gallivant about during the day?
Yeah, so he, you know, the first couple months was pretty hard trying to, not trying to control him, but give him his freedom. And like, basically I just followed him everywhere he went outside.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, letting him get his bearings, and he did. And, you know, I've been back about a year now, and it's almost 1 year I've been back, and he's super competent. He has a better morning routine than I do. He's like, feed me, let me out, I'll be back. So yeah, he goes out. He would like to go out more often, but I'm scared to say the C word, coyotes around here. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And cars.
I don't. Yeah, both C words. I don't want to manifest that, so I don't talk about it much. But it's obviously a fear. So.
Yeah, that's a reasonable worry.
Yeah. It's just fun.
I mean, honestly, they're way better off than small dogs because
I think so too. They're so independent.
And they know how to fight.
And he has gotten into a cat fight, which was so scary, but he definitely won. But at one point I was like, well, they both kill each other. I have no idea where either of them are. And oh my God, what just happened? Because last I saw, they were rolling, like literally attached and screaming, and rolled all the way into this, similar to what you were talking about earlier, like a nature preserve pond area. And then I didn't see them for like a while, or hear them, and I was like, they killed each other. And then all of a sudden he comes flying over the fence like a superhero. Like, he should have had a little cape on. Wow. And I just was like, what the hell did you do?
I mean, he's been in it though.
Yeah. He's a Mexican street cat. Yeah. He's a jungle kitty. He thinks he's like a literal tiger.
What neighborhood do you live in Chicago?
So I've been staying with my parents, so I'm like up north there. Okay. Yeah, close to you, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's not forever, but
that was quite the commute. Did you drive from there to here?
Yeah, I've been doing that. It just is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
So these flowers that you brought,
Yeah.
can you tell us the story of those?
Oh, these, I had a client today ask for a Gothic bouquet.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some, these are some leftovers from that Gothic bouquet for you. So we have agonis, we have smoke bush, and then we just have 2 little accent pieces.
Those smoke bushes, those are something special.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Really beautiful.
I went with the I mean, he was like, "Can you do black flowers?" I'm like, "There's not really black flowers, but there's a very, very deep purple that I'll get you." And then I had these a really deep purple anemones. I went with anemones over ranunculus. What do you guys think? Which would you choose? You're familiar?
Probably anemones.
Anemone, because I think they're more like I don't know. They're both beautiful, but they feel more Gothic to me a little bit.
Yeah.
What are you
Which-
familiar?
Which are
Anemone
those?
and ranunculus. They're not in this, so you have to
Ranunculus,
remember.
that sounds like another word I can't think of.
Yeah.
These are a little more intricate, if
Uh,
I'm not mistaken, aren't they?
they have a much more interesting, I'd say, bloom. Well, interesting might not be the right word, or it might be. It's like they have a very like single petal, and then a really like almost eyeball center looking.
Oh, I'm totally thinking of ranunculus then.
You're thinking of ranunculus because they're very intricate. They're very many petals.
That's what I was thinking of.
So you would
I
have
had
gone with that one?
I had them flipped.
Okay.
I need to
love
see
them.
them.
Yeah, I wish I had them.
To say, did you do any of the dark calla lilies?
No, I didn't see them at the market. Also, it was a small budget, but I
Yeah.
couldn't put many
Yeah, those are
blooms
pricey.
in. Yeah. So yeah, that's the story. And I thought Adam likes Gothic flowers. I'll give him a couple
Yeah, I'm sure I'll paint them.
stems.
I don't think they made it into the painting itself, this one, but
Yeah.
I can do a still life, I think.
Well, I love bringing people flowers.
Also, I'll mention, I'm getting close to being finished here with the painting of the 2 of you.
Okay.
And there's no reason for you to be here while I work on that mantle and that big still
We
life
just-
up there. So I'm probably going to make a little separate, like after the fact video,
Okay.
and I'll do that stuff, just by, by myself,
Okay.
talk to myself.
Okay. Cool. We did some good filling of time with cat mom stories.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was
Yeah,
too much of a rant, but that's
It
where it went.
doesn't.
I mean,
Okay.
cats.
Everybody knows cats.
They're important.
People love them.
I'll keep going, but just say
Yeah.
the word out. Elston was
was
found in DuPage County.
Yeah, let's do one more
Okay.
cat story.
Are you sure?
I want to know
Okay, stop talking.
all the
No,
names of
that's
your
bad.
cats.
It doesn't matter.
Elston.
Elston, Chester.
Chester, but his full name is Manchester, because that
Okay.
was the street. His brother and sister were found in a box in front of
Oh my gosh.
like candle depot in the middle of the industrial district in downtown Los Angeles, at the corner of Manchester and Broadway. So
Oh,
those are their names.
Broadway's the girl.
Broadway is his sister.
Cute.
She's a long-haired, gray, stripy cat, and he's a partial Seal Lynx Point Bengal. So he's huge.
Wow.
And also heavy because he likes to eat.
He's part Bengal. I think Dorado might have a little Bengal in him.
Is he long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he acts like he's exotic.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had Bengal in him for sure.
Yeah.
And then Olive is our tortie, and she's a celestial being.
Cool.
She will...
Alex? What's her name?
Olive.
Olive. Okay.
She comes when you whistle,
Oh.
which is fun,
Mhm.
or sing,
Mm-hmm.
anything musical.
Yeah.
She's drawn to it, and it's like a calling to her, and she'll come to you when you're being that way. And she coos, and she's, I swear, she's like otherworldly.
You found her on Olive Street.
She was adopted at an adoption / like pet store that only did rescues.
Aww.
And she was the last of her litter to go, and she was very sickly, and she was separated in a cage away from all the other pet areas because she was ill and like covered in her own whatever. And I saw her and I was like, is she okay? And she was this big, And they said that, yeah, she had just had some digestive issues. And I brought Andrew there, and we both took her out of the cage, and she was just climbing all over us. And we were like, we have to adopt her. And she needed to finish her medicine, so there was another week before we were able to go back and take her home. But when we had her, she sat in his palm. She was like this tall, just fluff. And she's black and golden, so she's got a ginger cat chin and like half of her
Oh my
mouth.
god, I want to see a picture.
Oh, I have a video. I'll show you. She's stunning.
We should just start a cat podcast.
I could totally talk about that.
You guys know that like people would love that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
There's gotta be
There's a
one.
I'd
cat
have to
cult.
be painting the cat.
Yeah.
There's gotta be one. But Elston, when he was found,
painting the cat.
it was that really hellacious winter in January. I want to say it was 2017 or 28. It was 2017, I think, where it was like -30 on New Year's. And he survived the winter outside.
Oh my god.
And he had spent his entire life outside.
They're-
And someone
That's why
found
they're
him,
insane.
took him to the animal shelter in DuPage County, but the tips of his ears were frostbitten, and so they were dying.
Oh my god.
And the cat rescue that took him in cared for him, got him healthy. The tips fell off, so he has bear ears,
Oh.
or like an otter. They're rounded.
Cute. Literally 9 lives.
Yes.
Like they all have.
And he was adopted actually by a family with a newborn, because that was a good idea. And bring in a feral cat who spent his entire life on the street
Right.
with the baby.
Yeah.
Of course, they returned him, and then we found him and adopted him.
Aww.
He is Andrew's cat. He does a trick where he will jump up into his arms. So he'll do this, and then he'll jump right here. And they snuggle, and he does the head rubbing all over his face, and he'll just like plop right here and purr. And he's very pleased that he was rescued. And he has some feral tendencies sometimes, but he's on Prozac, and he's just great. He's great.
What are the feral tendencies?
If you look him in the eye for too long, he'll attack you.
Okay.
So he's threatened by direct eye contact when it's too long.
Okay.
Because it's a sign of, for him, like that's what he was used to. It's the stare down.
Yeah.
So he feels threatened.
Yeah.
With people that are too aggressive with him, that try to like touch him a lot, he doesn't like that if they're strangers.
Okay.
He has to come to you.
Yeah.
It's really just people that don't know how to engage with formerly feral cats that get the brunt of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's had some spraying tendencies.
Oh, that's a feral thing.
In the
Rabbit
past.
does that.
Mm-hmm.
So annoying.
But
that's
the
annoying.
Prozac significantly helps.
I don't want to put on Prozac.
And it works though, and it's subdermal, so it's you just put it on the skin and it absorbs, and it has corrected his behavior to such a huge degree.
Yeah, he sprays.
All right, I'm gonna
Are you ready?
cat bosh on that
No,
cat
it's
and
fine.
the cat
We're just-
combo for one more
cat
card.
Oh, okay. You want to change the subject? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to pick?
Cats have had
your
their
turn.
they've had their day in the sun.
Sorry, Adam. I mean, I could keep going.
I'm not mad.
That's cool.
Adam, I think you'll have a cat someday. And
And then you'll have another cat.
Yeah. It might
Will it
just
be
show
mine
up.
or will it be a consequence?
I think a cat might
Of
just show up for
somebody
you. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, you're...
I think that I don't need a cat yet.
That's what you think. But then they just show up and then
Yeah.
you didn't
If you're
realize.
chosen, you're chosen.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There's no
we'll
going
see.
back.
I did pick up some when I was living in LA,
Oh.
and there were 2 kittens. Anyhow, let's see what these cards hold for
So
us.
this is a great question to
We'll
end
close
with.
on this one.
How do you find fulfillment?
How do I find fulfillment? Let's see. What would I say? I think that I find fulfillment in the exercise of my talents, in the company of other people, and in getting to know people intimately, and finding genuine trust Yeah. So that's
All
my
very good things.
Yeah, that's a
Your
really
list.
good answer.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you. Been working on
Do
it
you
for a
then?
while.
Okay, how do I find fulfillment? Definitely through learning about cultures and other people. I just feel really whole in it doesn't even necessarily have to be traveling. It's just like learning about cultures and how other people have experienced life, and also like being of service. Like that might be cheesy and obvious, but it is why people serve. You know, it's like I really do find fulfillment in giving my readings and giving my art to the world. It's like if you were to just hoard all that, like it's not fulfilling. You know, it's about sharing your gifts and sharing your creativity and sharing, you know, what you know. I think I find fulfillment in teaching too. And it's taken me a while to like really understand that. Like I think it's like a dichotomy. You almost have to like hoard and then realize like this isn't fun all alone, you know. Like I literally can't do everything all myself, and there's a reason for that. Like humans are meant to be in connection and community, so I think my answer is in there somewhere. What about you? And my cat, of course.
Oh yeah, always, always. Always. I find a lot of fulfillment in, I guess it could be called acts of service, but focus specifically in helping folks heal, like with physical ailments. It's something I've always been drawn to, and I think that's what drew me to just learning about herbalism. And anytime anyone's like, "Oh, this is going on with me," and I'm like, "Have you tried this?" You know, and just helping them to discover. And I guess there's an educational component with that, but that's one of the things that motivates my creation of my muscle salve, my topical salve, that's cannabis based legally. And then my creams and lotions, which I mean, my sister-in-law, it like practically heals her eczema, and she's finding a lot of benefits from it, and there's just something so rewarding about making something that is helping people. So I get a lot of fulfillment with that. I'm also fulfilled by connecting with nature, and I love doing it with others, you know, but also alone. Because there's benefits to all of that. There's a reason why forest bathing is prescribed as medicine in Japan. You know?
Agreed.
Because it is. And I'm very fulfilled by that.
Cool. That was a nice question.
Yeah, good way to end.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks, Adam.
Any last words you want to say to each other, or
This has been delightful.
anybody else?
It really has. Yeah.
So lovely meeting and talking with you.
Likewise.
You too, Adam.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's always fun to meet you every time we meet.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah, maybe that'll be the slogan for the show.
It's a lovely.
It's fun to meet you
Yes.
every time we meet.
Yeah, I like that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll work on it.
Yeah, you've got something there.
Yeah. Well, I'll pull something out of it. I think.
How do you feel?
Can we reveal?
You know,
Dying to see
I'm
it.
gonna say
I can't believe it.
we can do the reveal, and when I do this separate segment, the after the fact, I'm going to work on the mental and still life, so that I can incorporate that stuff. While you guys don't need to be in the room.
Yeah.
And from there, I'm probably going to edit the painting a little bit, but I'm for the most part satisfied with your likenesses. They're subtle and neither takes up too much focus or attention, so it feels like everything contributes to the whole, and it's a cool composition. It's a nice
Lovely.
one.
Are we
All right.
able to look?
So yes, and
Yay!
let me go ahead and grab.
Oh yeah, your
Fancy.
fancy.
So we can do a nice little review.
Nice. What is that called again?
Gimbal.
Thank you. Those grapes are so good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Reveal time.
All right.
Well,
I just put this in. I'm bringing it by. All right. Here we go.
a little music for the
We have some
reveal.
reveal music. That's not the worst idea.
That was very eyes wide shut for a second.
I'm a professional kalimba player.
Is that what it is?
It is.
I
That's
right,
quite a
here we
nice
go.
instrument.
love it. Oh, so cute.
Here we are.
Oh yeah.
Thanking everybody.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I love my pink hair.
I think
This is so cool.
we found a nice little way to do this reveal.
I like it. Mm-hmm.